Hi everyone. I'm just preparing my scrim basting to my exterior fabrics. I like to use clips. They're easier to take off when you're sewing compared to pins, and they won't scratch the vintage machine because they're plastic. And they'll also slide up and down, so you can actually load loads of clips on the sides. For this particular piece, I'm just using four just to hold it in place. But if you don't have clips, I recommend using clips as opposed to pins. Clips will actually keep everything flat, whereas a pin, I find, will bow the fabric slightly. So I'm just getting everything ready to go and base stitch. One of the things I just wanted to show you with the scrim, or what I found with scrim and why I like scrim so much, is because scrim has two sides. It has this fleecy side and it has this nylon-y side. So if I was going to attach this or base stitch this to my other piece of fabric, so that's my exterior fabric. I've just put one fabric on top of the other, and I'm just going to hold it in the corner, and that will actually slide quite well off. If I turn it over and put my exterior fabric back on, and then I pull, it will actually, the fleece almost acts a little bit like Velcro and catches it. So I always do, when I'm basting my fabric to my scrim, I always have it so that the fleece faces the wrong side of the fabric, so that once these two are basted together, there's my exterior side and there's the scrim side. If I show you on this piece, there's my exterior fabric and there's the scrim side, but it's the grey side that shows, and the fleece side is attaching to the exterior piece. Whether you're using scrim or whether you use foam or fusible foam, pattern pieces will normally tell you when you base stitch to actually baste a zigzag stitch all the way round. If you don't have that on a vintage machine, you'll have to do a straight stitch. The reason why they say to do a zigzag stitch is because the zigzag will help to squish the edges of the exterior fabric with the foam, so that you have a lot less bulk in your seam allowance, particularly when you're going to fold a fabric, like a bag the right way out. You don't want to have too much bulk in your seam. I'm not going to use a zigzag. Do have a zigzag attachment, but I'm not going to use a zigzag stitch. What I'm going to do is base stitch 1/8 seam allowance all the way around, and then I'm going to go back and do another row of stitches as close to the edge as possible, and that will do the same sort of thing. It will help to just squish it down. Because I'm using scrim, it doesn't really need squishing down, but it also acts as just a stronger stitch around the very edge. It just holds that screw in place very well. Because bag patterns will have a bigger seam allowance, by doing a 1/8 basing stitch, you're not going to see that when the bag is put together.